on, y'all. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. Oh my God, Khalif, wait. I didn't even get a chance to sit down. Hold on. Wait, I can't even find my AirPods. He already sent the request in. We start at 8. Oh no, I'm missing one. Shit. No, I can't do it without just one. I can't. I have no idea where it went. I hope that we can make this happen with one AirPod. So let me go back to my request. Oh my God, I cannot believe I only have one. I don't know where the other one went at. This is sad. This is real sad. This is upsetting me and my homegirl. I am sad. I only have one. I hope. Do I sound okay? Can you hear me with just one? If you can hear me with just one, just put the thumbs up, because I always use both AirPods, and I only. Where is the other one? Okay. All right. Thank you. Everybody else can hear me. Okay. All right. Khalif, send me the request again. Don't do that, Will. Don't do that. That's not funny. Okay. I hope he can see. I hope y'all can see me. You gonna have to move back.
Oh, all right. I was trying to figure
Everybody
out
can
how it
see.
worked. Yeah, I'm about
You
to
gotta move back.
I'm moving the thing back. That's better.
Yeah,
Hold
because
up.
we're on top of each other,
Yeah, that's what
and
I
I
was
want to
trying to.
be able to see. Want everybody to be able to see you and me. I might have to actually come a little closer because I can't see at all. I can't see. I can't see you at all.
You can't?
Okay. Yeah. No, I can see you, but I'm just saying, like, because we're so far away from each other, I can't really kind of I can see you, but the light that I have is kind of blurring my vision.
Oh, all right.
Well, I'm going
I,
to introduce you
okay.
before we get into the car, because you've been cutting up all week in your pose.
A little bit.
A little bit? Oh,
A little
okay.
bit.
So I want everybody to, give a round of applause, and y'all can clap inside the comment sections for Khalif. I said it right, correct?
Yeah, you said it right.
Okay.
Absolutely right. Versus,
Okay.
I have some issues, but I just let it go.
Why? Why don't you
No,
correct people when they say your name?
I mean, because over time, I felt like it has been used both ways, but I know what I go by. And then
Okay.
there's how do I say? There's the others who don't necessarily
Oh,
get my
okay.
name right. You know what I mean?
I know
So
what you're trying to
I,
say.
I, I just let it roll. I just let it
Well,
roll.
Khalif is actually a friend of a friend, which makes him my friend. And my homegirl Zakia is definitely the plug. She introduced us at a gathering that you had before, and then she also let me know
That
that
was
you
slick.
had a organization that you
hmm
do. So I just
hmm
want you to kind of like briefly introduce yourself, who you are. A lot of people are wondering if you went to Morgan State. He did not go to Morgan State. This is
Nah,
another BC alumni, second
yeah.
week in a row.
Woo woo. So yeah, so Khalif and I went to Boston College. So I guess just jumping into a little bit about the organization, it's still in the grassroots level of getting off the ground, but it's a mentoring and academic enrichment organization that I guess I could say was inspired by the birth of my son. I tried to incorporate a mentoring organization sometime, I want to say in like 2017, and it was going well. The origins of it kind of was trying to incorporate where I was from, where I am from, Newark, New Jersey, and Boston College. And I tried to kind of do an ode to, like, I don't know if you guys heard of DC to BC. Some people who went to BC know we just lost a pillar in the BC community, Quinn Coleman. He was an executive over at Capitol Records. So what they had going on there was a DC to BC movement up in Boston College.
Okay.
And my original plan for a mentoring program was Brick City to BC to kind of give them guys a shout out for what they had going on. Trelectro was one of their biggest events. So when I got in the mindset of like, just trying to, build family, build businesses and all of this as of 2017, that was the original idea. So life took me through a little different direction when I moved to Pennsylvania with my then fiance. And then I started reworking the plan because getting ready to get married and all of these things kind of changed my direction as far as what it was that I was doing. And I wasn't in Newark anymore. So it's like, how can I kind of do something Brick City to BC? And I'm not in Brick City right now. So I took a little hiatus from it, still was trying to get business going. And then my son was born in January. And obviously, a lot of people who have children know that it's no cliche. When you really do have a kid, especially me being a black man, I have my first kid be a son. I just automatically thought names. And my son's name is Grayson. So it was no brainer for it to be called Grayson Scholars. And it had a ring to it from the minute I said it. And then I just have been on a tear as of, I want to say, March, once COVID happened, and things have really took a turn in the right direction with this, and I feel like it's going to be very, very impactful in the community.
My son's name is Gray, and his name was definitely
I
going to be
remember you told
Grayson.
me.
Yes,
Yeah.
I couldn't really sit with Grayson. I was walking around with Grayson in my head, like, I don't know. It was so many children named Grayson at the time when I had him, so I was like, I'm gonna just name him Gray. We're just gonna cut this short and just call him
Oh,
Gray.
so it's just Gray, not
Yeah,
Grayson?
his name is Gray.
Oh, all right. I mean,
His name is
you
just Gray.
you from New York though, so as far as how it goes with like the names and everything like that, I've been through a few things in my life where I grapple with, everybody's using that. Like, man, everybody in the city and everybody up north wear Timbs. Don't nobody wear Timbs like you though, or me though, or whatever. So
Yeah.
you could have went with that.
I think my son named his last name rolled with his first name, so I just left it that way.
That
His
worked.
name is
That worked.
Styles, so
That
his
worked.
last name is Styles, so his name
That
is Gray
worked.
Styles. So it kind of rang that
Oh,
way.
that's
Yeah,
not his
I
stage.
don't
That's not
know.
his stage name.
No, that's his real name, Gray
Oh,
Styles. So I
yeah, that's
liked it that
fire.
way.
That's fire.
So you said you went to BC College. What was your major at BC?
So, undergrad, I majored in sociology, and then my grad school master's degree was in education and developmental psychology. Um, yeah, my experience there was great. Like you said, Zakia was the plug to, our friendship, and I applaud her for linking me up with you and for you coming through to my party. I remember you was telling me that was a good time. That was a really good time.
It definitely was. And so, what did you do for a living prior to the organization that you have right now?
So, I had a few different directions that I went into, but all centered around education in some way, shape, or form. So originally, I was working in a higher ed setting. So I was a resident director. I was a community director and a residence coordinator. So I worked at one college in Jersey City and then one college right in Newark, New Jersey. And I was pretty much in charge of the opening and closing of the halls. Everybody who went to college knows what a resident director is. They just basically are in charge of the community, in charge of one building or a few buildings in a given, setting. So I did that, and then I just feel like it was it can be really beneficial in some ways, being that, you live on campus, so you don't have to worry about the covering of your rent and utilities and things of that nature. But then there's no real work-life balance. You're always on the campus. You gotta kind of be ready to go anytime something kind of takes place. And it's like, I kind of got to get away from this. life took me in a different direction as far as knowing that this is not really what I want to do. And I always was kind of tied to mentoring. That's what I wanted to do. So I took a step back from there. And then for a few years, I want to say for about a year or close to a year, I started doing substitute teaching for a little
Okay.
bit to kind of get my feet wet with seeing if, being in the classroom is what I wanted to do. So when I did that for a while, I got into a long-term sub position working with special needs kids in the special needs classroom, and I was working with elementary age kids. So from like I want to say anywhere from first grade to like fourth grade, and I was realizing then, even though I was going through my own things in life, like these kids need a lot of assistance, and there's a big misconception for what special needs and special services is in our community. It doesn't mean that the kids can't think. It doesn't mean that the kids are incapable of doing work for themselves. A lot of kids in those classrooms just have a lot of behavioral issues, and they have a lot going on at home that influences how they act in school. So that was my first kind of scope into, okay, I know that there's a need here. And then I went on to work at another school for children with intellectual and not so much behavioral disabilities, but they
Mm-hmm.
had they were mentally disabled and intellectually disabled. So they needed like that extra assistance. And I had an opportunity to work with just kids in that population. And then I became a behavior specialist where it's like contract work. So
Okay.
that was my first role into kind of working for myself, but I wasn't really working for myself. I just was providing a service to one kid here and one kid there, and then I would go, from home to home and see what that was like. And after that, I ended up, once I moved, I actually got into just going full term with being an educator and being in the classroom. But I
Mm-hmm.
know at the end of the day, that's not really where I wanted to end up because I'm not trying to climb the corporate ladder in education or anything for that matter. It's possible to kind of do things on your own. So I felt like all these different experiences that I have with all these different age groups, what better way than to kind of bet on yourself? So right now, I'm currently a full-time educator, but the
Okay.
goal is to move from being a full-time educator to making what I do a full-time thing and, have enough to just do my thing full-fledged without having to do a full-time job under the guise of, a 401k through, the state or whomever else is, trying to employ people.
So I actually pinned your GoFundMe at the bottom of this live.
Appreciate it.
So what is the GoFundMe for exactly?
So the GoFundMe is for, I'm starting a program. Well, the program has started actually. As of March, I have probably, I want to say anywhere between 6 to 8 mentees. So what the program is for is securing program resources for not only myself, but for the mentees. So clearly we're
Okay.
still in COVID right now. And with us
Right.
being in COVID, I have instituted social distance mentoring and academic enrichment. So as far as academic enrichment is concerned, the same way we do classes sometimes with the educators going virtual with their classrooms, that's the same way that I disseminate, my business or whatever it is that we're talking about. Now, as for the mentoring, that same aspect is what I do, and I have, different pillars that I want to talk on with the kids throughout each week. And with the money that I'm raising, eventually I want to be able to secure a location where we can not just, say we're going to meet on live. We're going to meet on, not live, we're going to
A
meet on
Zoom.
Zoom. Yeah, we're
Hmm.
going to meet on Zoom or FaceTime or a call, and once I'm anticipating before December to have anywhere between like 20 to 50 kids. So when I have that opportunity and the kids aren't from, different states, which I
Hmm.
have right now, I'll be able to say, okay, there's this place where I am from, after school hours or something like that, where you could just walk in the door, you can see what the services are about, whether it's me working with you one on one or whether it's you coming to work with me and another group of kids as a group, you have that luxury. So between securing a event space or securing a space to hold the business and conduct it, Zoom is not cheap. For the most part, you could get on a Zoom call, but they have it reserved for you for 40 minutes. So in order to be able to hold, say I want to do a hour and a half or 2 hour conference, you got to pay for licenses
Wow, I
for
never knew that. I
having,
just know
yeah,
these annoying behind Zoom calls
yep,
happening
yep, yep.
since COVID started. I need to
So the
be more
work,
appreciative of
so
it.
the jobs probably are paying for the licenses, but for right now, like even when I get on a group call with my fellas, and when we, we pretty much touch base once a week, or at least we were, to kind of check in with each other during
Okay.
this, stressful time. But initially, it would be like, all right, we'd be on for an hour. Zoom knew what they were doing. They gave you that hour. And now, since things are kind of getting back into regularly scheduled programming, they're like, okay, now this is what we usually do. It's 40 minutes. So now we got to do the ghetto fabulous way of be like, all right, it's 30 minutes now. I'm going to get back to you in 20 seconds. Let's get off and then get back on, because the licensures are expensive. You know what I mean? Because they have monthly charges, and then they have like, the 3 month charges, then the year charges. And I'm still trying to get my ducks in a row, because obviously
Okay.
being an educator, it pays. I love what I do, and I'm paying it forward to the kids, but it
Hmm.
don't pay. You know what I
Right.
mean? So all of what I'm doing is on my own dollar. And for the most part, I'm trying to figure out how to make that dollar work as best I can without, affecting what I do for my family, who, obviously comes first before all the other kids that I'm trying to impact. What good is it if I can't help my brother or my son or little cousins of mine, and I'm trying to help everybody else? I'm a
Right.
real firm believer that, like, you can't try to help the world if you ain't help yourself or the people that's closest to you
You
first.
got to
So
take care of home first. Home
yeah,
comes
absolutely.
first, and then everything else comes second. So I mean, this is not what I wanted to ask, but I really want to get into this because the book that you gave to me, The Four
Solid, right?
Agreements,
Solid.
oh my God.
I
No,
swear
that
by it.
book is awesome. Like, I
Thank
read
you.
like the first page and I said, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. You sent the book late. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to read it. I'm not gonna read this book right now. But when I
Yep.
opened it, I was like, I can't put the book down. I want to know what it says on the next page and what it says on the next page. So what Khalif does is, if you donate to his GoFundMe, he actually will give you, depending on what you donate, he'll give you 2 ebooks for $25. Correct?
Basically,
Go
if
ahead
you
and explain
donate,
it.
basically, if it's $25 or more, it's a gift. My
Okay.
personal preference, my personal not preference, but my personal uh ideology when it comes to like raising money that I figured out, and this is not through reading like any books. This is just through conversations that I've had with friends and like life experience. Like, if I'm asking you to do something for me, I should be able to do something for you. Now,
Right.
there are times where, someone can give like $10. I'm feeling generous, you know what I mean? And not only feeling generous, but I just want to be able to pay it forward. And then there are times where if I know it's somebody's birthday or somebody's big event or anniversary, I'm just paying it forward. So like you said, in the GoFundMe, in the description, it tells you at the bottom that if you donate at least $25, you know what I mean, it comes with 2 ebooks. And then the rest of the potential gift packages go up by $25. So $25 more, you get $50, you get 4 ebooks. Another $25, $75, you get I want to say 6 or 8 ebooks, and then you have like a free 30-minute wellness session. Now, if you want to use that session as an adult and we, converse as a clarity coach or a wellness strategist, as I coined the term myself, you can do that, but you could also pay it forward to another child, or perhaps you have a little cousin, a relative, or a child of your own who you would like to see what the services look like when, we meet and talk, and then we could go from there. And then $100 comes with 10 ebooks, a wellness session for 30 minutes, and once we get everything off the ground, I have something going on between myself and my family where we're going to be selling these God is Good T-shirts. But if you donate the $100, obviously, once I get everything, and once we get all our ducks in a row with packaging, and it's one thing at a time. Right now,
Right.
I'm 100%, 110% on this mentoring, academic enrichment, and getting the books out as a means to fundraise. So that's where we are.
So I want to go back to the GoFundMe, but I just want to know
Okay.
right quick, what is the goal amount on the GoFundMe? What
The
is the
goal,
goal? What
the
is the
goal,
money goal?
the money goal is $10,000 for
Okay.
now. That's what
Okay.
that's what I have it. It was arbitrary, honestly. I have a friend of mine who is in the process, or was in the process, of trying to open up a restaurant,
Okay.
and he had a big axe and he got it. So obviously, I know that it's more than that, but that was just my arbitrary goal in my
Okay.
mind. So I left it there, and I'm praying and hoping that, we get there, and then we just keep taking it there, because I got a lot of big other plans for the program that I have not wrote into it yet,
Okay.
and I could talk about that as we, get into it more.
Okay. So you said that do you offer services to adults as well? Because it says that you are a personal coach and a wellness
A
strategist.
wellness,
That's the
yeah.
you coined that term.
I, well, I can't say I coined it. I just haven't seen anybody else use it.
I've
But
never seen it either. So
all right.
explain
So
exactly what that is, because you're not just offering services to children, you're offering service to adults as well.
basically, my personal philosophy is the same conversations that I get from the books that I've read. There's this saying that is like 10,000 hours or 10 years or something. You're basically a professional. So
Yes.
I know that I put my credentials on things just because people like to see the whole paperwork or the paper trail behind things. I
Okay.
know I'm educated. I know I'm an intellectual, and I know that I have the ability to do whatever it is that I say that I want to do. Unfortunately, in this world, people don't want to give you a shot unless they can see something behind what
Right.
qualifies you to do that, right?
Right.
So fortunately for me, Boston College, a pretty prestigious top tier university. You know what I mean? I have not only one degree from there, but two. So, if people want to question like what qualifies you to do this, I have this type of education, I have this type of experience, and on my personal time, this is what I have done to kind of say that I think that, not saying that I'm a therapist or not saying that I am your counselor, I think that just me helping you kind of make sense of whatever it is that you're trying to do, or just being able to have some positive, constructive criticism or feedback, I think that I'm qualified to do that because we all do that to our friends. And if we're
Right.
being honest, I can do it, but you can do it. Everybody who I know who have friends who tell them, oh man, I love talking to you because you see where I'm coming from, or you could put my experience into words that I can't necessarily convey. So I've been hearing that my whole life before the Boston College degrees or the or the high school that I went to. It's just some things are within you, and it's just a matter of you trying to figure that out. And I guess it took me 30 some odd years to kind of figure that out and get moving on it. So I figured, like, it's not a one size fits all kind of thing.
Hmm.
Obviously, I promote and facilitate education for children who I've worked with, but we've been working with adults our whole lives, especially our adult lives. We in some way, shape, or form mentor our friends. Our friends trust our judgment. All these things. So I feel like, if an adult felt like, yo, I would like you to help me, work on time management. I would like you to help me work on not taking things so seriously. I would like you to give me your perspective on how you handle, overcoming shortcomings, or, dealing with adversity. I'm by all means capable of doing that because I've proved not only to myself that I can do it. I'm my first biggest advocate in terms of, oh, I've been through some things and I know
Right.
how to weather that storm, and I've helped people get through some things before I went through them, and now I have proven that I can do that beyond that. So, if adults want to utilize the service, absolutely. Right now I have two 20-year-old, one's a college student and one is, trying to figure it out, and they're young adults. You know what I mean? I could take it up a notch to 25. A 25-year-old is an adult. They're younger than me. But if I
Correct.
want to mentor or counsel a 40-year-old person who needs it, by all means, because maturity don't necessarily come with age. We know that.
They really don't. Did you have a mentor when you were growing up?
Honestly, my biggest mentor when I was growing up, I had a father in my life, and a
Okay.
lot of kids don't have that. So, my first mentor, first and foremost, was my father, being a black man who told me about his mistakes and talked to me about shortcomings that he had and helped me kind of navigate my way. And that was helpful to me, and I know a lot of people in our community don't have that. So that was my biggest thing about trying to be a mentor, trying to pay it forward. But there have been other people along the way that I've ran into in like school settings, or, what I mean, that you look to. I don't necessarily idolize them, but you see folks like, I listen to Jay-Z's music all my
Hmm.
life. Honestly, he hasn't been talking anything that I should be following and paying attention to until now. You know what I mean? Fortunately, the stuff that Jay-Z is talking about right now is what I need to hear right now. And what he was talking about then he was my age, but he was talking about stuff that I was trying to do at 15, but it was appropriate for 15. You know what I mean? So
Right.
it's beneficial to us to see old heads like himself, talk that stuff. But he's 50, giving game that you should be applying in your 20s. And it's just beneficial to me and the rest of the world to be able to have folks like him, LeBron, and for all the people who don't necessarily have dads or positive models in their life. I think now is the time where you can actually kind of look at television and say, I want to be like that guy. But we shouldn't have to deal with entertainers or people in the limelight to be that person. We should be able to touch the people that are close to us or in our communities to say, this is possible because I see this person and this person isn't far from my reach. So yeah, long story short, definitely have mentors and I'm fortunate for it. And I just want to be that for other young folks who are looking for it.
So, I mean, what you're doing, I know that it can be a little bit draining. Well, maybe not draining, but it can be heavy to kind of carry around,
Hmm.
trying to, basically working with children who may or may not have mental issues or behavior issues. So where are you drawing daily inspiration from? Because you have to be able to pour in your own cup. So where are you drawing your daily inspiration every day to get up and keep doing this?
My daily inspiration honestly comes from the things that I personally have been through. So getting over I tell myself and I tell people all the time, outside of first and foremost, God, and I don't want to be that person, but I'll be that person. Outside of God, who's obviously the biggest inspiration, then there comes my wife. Outside of my wife, then there comes my son. Outside of my son is my immediate family, my brother who stays with us, my mom, dad, all these people in my life who have been a part of my ups and my downs. And I've had downs, you know what I mean? So my outside of those, figures and those people, it's me being able to reflect on the experiences that I've been through where it doesn't feel like I can get through this experience. I don't want to get through this experience. I just want to be where I'm at. Nobody comes through any great story without going through some great triumph, great. Nobody goes to a peak without going through a valley, for lack of a
Right.
better explanation. So me being able to be not necessarily at my peak, I won't say, but life is all about staying even keel. So don't get too high, don't get too low. And while I'm like right in that middle, I can think about when I was low and say, man, I was all the way down there and I didn't see myself getting out of all the way down there, or it was dark in that time and I couldn't see up, down, left or right. And I don't know how I made it out of that experience outside of, pulling myself up by my bootstraps, but I can't take credit for that. You know what I mean? There's a light at the end of the tunnel. I can't take credit for that light. God is that light. I can't take credit for the support that I had while I couldn't necessarily see anything, or I forgot about my potential during the times of my quote unquote downfall, how short it was. But that's where you got to look to the people who have always believed in you and have stuck with you through thick and thin to say, you got to pay it forward to the people who have been believing in you before you believed in yourself, or the people who believed in you when you stopped believing in yourself. And once you kind of experience something like that, I guess you could say that it's life changing and
Right.
it helped me get some perspective. Like I always said, I wanted to be a mentor, right? And I knew
Hmm.
that I knew this from a very early age. But ironically, I go through my experiences because how can I go and help be a wellness strategist to somebody who is going through something that I haven't myself said I've been where you are. Now, I'm not saying that I've been in your shoes because I hate to put people in position where you're trying to minimize their experience, but I can say I can relate to how you may be feeling from a perspective of you need to pick me up. Sometimes people need to pick me up and they want to hear somebody who can relate to an experience that they've had that they don't feel like anybody else can relate to. So
Hmm.
having had that experience, I feel like is what keeps me going to just say, look, this day might not be the greatest. I mean, this day might not be the worst, but it has potential to be the greatest. You got to make your mind up every day to say, yo, you know what, no matter what's happening right now, I'm not getting along with this person, or, things aren't necessarily going my way, but, things haven't went my way in the past and I made it through that and I'm here. So it could be the worst of days, but it's just like, yo, give yourself some perspective and say, no matter where you are right now, in a few minutes even, everything could be completely different, for better or worse. But always keep your mind on things being for better, and you can kind of manifest that. That's just my personal philosophy.
How old is Grayson? How old is your
Grace
son?
Grayson will be 9 months in October.
Oh, our babies are really close in age.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
didn't know
yeah.
that.
Yep,
So
nine
how
months in
has
October.
fatherhood and being a husband like just changed your perspective on things?
Honestly, I I feel like I've always been this person where I've been like empathetic and I've been patient and I've been faithful and inspirational to others, but it has really taken that to the next level because the only thing that I can think about is making sure that I'm putting him, my wife, and my family to be and to come into pass because I don't think we done. I know she probably watching. I don't think we done. I know we ain't done, but I'm just saying, thinking about setting up that legacy and wanting to be. I don't want to be anybody that I see on TV. I don't want to be any of the people who we looked up to when we were
Right.
younger. But I know the life that they can provide for their kids and the life that they can set up for their family, for legacies, for generations to come. That's what I want. You know what I mean? It's not necessarily a monetary value that I have attached to it at all. It's more so just the thought of saying they will not want and need anything on my time. So
Okay.
right now I'm trying to create that. And I can honestly say, not having had that experience, you can try to imagine it. You can put a picture of who you think will be your wife. You can put a thought in your head of what it will be like to have a son and try to set that up. It cannot, you cannot manifest the feeling until you really know what it's like to hold your kid and say, I'm going to make sure that I do everything in my power to say, yo, you're not going to have to go through anything that I went through. And I didn't go through anything particularly crazy in my young life, but
Hmm.
even from the standpoint of like once you become a little adult, like you're going to be in a position where you're already set up. You walking into your business because your daddy done laid things down and this is your business when I'm done with it. You're going to go to school as a formality. We went to school. Some of us, most of my friends that I know of, are first generation college students. Myself, my wife, a few of my family members, we all figured it out, right? So
Right.
we went because we thought that education was selling us on you're going to make $1 million more over the course of your lifetime. That's not exactly true. If I could have figured out what it is that I wanted to do early on, college was just a kind of way of, I guess, helping you figure it out. And your network is your net worth. So I did build a nice network. But honestly, I'm trying to put myself in a position where down the line, college is going to be an option for him. It's going to be
Right.
if you can't make your mind up about what it is that you want to do, you're going to go to college just to be and fit the formality of, okay, I have X amount of credential. I'm going to foresee myself dibbling, dabbling into these different things before I come back home to run your business, Dad. But if you want to run my business and you've been running my business from the time been, I started it and you were around it for 20 years, what you need a college degree for? You're educated. We got all the books. You've seen me doing all of these things. You don't need that. That's why it's no coincidence. You have the Mark Zuckerbergs, you have the
Hmm.
millionaires and billionaires whose families are set up with generations of wealth to come. And that's just passed down. They just go to college just to kind of be like, all right, it's time to have fun. And now once I get out of school, I'm set up. We come out of college with debt. If I'm not paying for his college, he's going to be smart enough to have it. But
Hmm.
you should only put yourself in a position to attain a degree or do things like that if you know what the next steps are. They sold us on this dream of this is
Hmm.
what it is. Once you get the paperwork, you good. That is not how it goes. You know what I mean?
I
And some
definitely
people,
lost myself in school. I
oh
mean,
my,
so- I
tell
mean,
me
I went
about it.
to HBCU,
Oh,
so
you got lit.
if I wasn't at the
Already
party, I was.
know.
You saw me at the party. You never saw me at the campus library. I never went to that library. I
Already
never went
know.
anywhere. I mean, I'm definitely a. I am the first generation college student, but I am the first one in my entire family to graduate from college, especially the first woman. I mean, I graduated
Wow.
first. I graduated first on like both sides,
That's
like
what's up.
maternal and paternal. So I'm like the first woman. I'm sure a lot of my aunts got degrees later on in life, but I was
Yeah.
the first to come out. I mean, I did party. But Lord knows, I scammed my way all the way through college. I
As
should
you
have just
should.
studied. I should have just studied all the stuff that I had did. I should have just studied all the work it took for me to get the lie together. I should have just paid attention, and honestly. But I don't remember. I don't think anything that I was supposed to have learned in school is going to aid me now. And I used to feel that way about elementary school.
Man, and that's why as an educator right now, I'm trying like I was teaching place value and stuff like that, right? Like I'm with sixth, seventh, eighth grade math and social studies. So what I do is I know like fortunately I have a principal who's like not really on my back. You know what I mean? I
Okay.
can go in there and I can do my thing, and it's not far from home either. Implicit costs and explicit costs is a real thing. Like even though you might not be pulling in what you want to pull in with what you're doing, your peace of mind and travel expenses, that being low, that's worth $1,000,000. You can't trade that for the world. So being able to
Mm-hmm.
do that and being able to not have people like kind of look over your shoulder, you being able to not have to look over your shoulder is great. But as far as certain things that I'm teaching in elementary school, I'm looking at what I'm doing in the text with them, you know what I mean, day by day. And I'm like, you're not going to use this in the real world. Once you get this, like, like say decimals, like tenths, hundreds, thousands. The textbook is asking them, making sure they know how to say that. When you get older, you're going to say 0 point, whatever, whatever, whatever. You're not going to use that. So figure out what it is. Once we figure out what it is, cool, let's move on. Because I feel like too many times people just trying to get kids to do what has been done, and what has been done isn't proven to have worked. So I tell my kids all the time, whatever subject that I'm teaching you, I could care less about the subject. I care about your potential, and I care about your development as a person and as a contributor to, the world, both now and as you grow up. So do what I'm telling you to do. The tests, the quizzes, all that stuff is not hard, but I could care less about that. I care about you knowing how to be a hard worker, you knowing how to show up and do just at least the bare minimum of what I'm asking you to do, and know that that's not difficult. Then you can figure out how to go above and beyond. Even if you know you're not the best test taker, if you just tell yourself that I'm going to do as best as I possibly can, and I do that, kind of get away from the whole grade thing. And I'm just trying to change minds. That, and I let them challenge me. You know what I mean? I tell them to think critically. Just because you read it in a book, or just because this is what we're going over. Now, I'm trying to give them the truth. I don't feel like everyone else is. Everyone else is. Like the books are lying to us sometimes. And I don't feel like kids know that. And the sooner they know that, just because you read it in a book,
Mm-hmm.
it's not Bible. You know what I mean? So I just been trying to do
That's
that.
true.
And
I mean, me and my friend have those
yeah,
arguments, those conversations all the time
no,
about college. I say to him
yeah,
all the time, he said, I think college is a waste. I don't necessarily think that college is a waste. I do think college should be free. I don't think
for
it should be
sure,
as much as it
for
is.
sure,
I don't
for
think we should
sure.
pay for education. That's ridiculous. The amount of money that, we pay to go to college. I think
Right.
that's a bit absurd that it goes up every year. Or
It is
every
absurd.
year it goes up every year, but I definitely paid for an experience. And he said, that's an expensive amount of money to pay for an experience, but I can't get that. I
Right.
don't think I would have been able to get that anywhere else.
Hmm.
There's people that didn't go to school that when they see me getting ready for homecoming, I know it's not happening this year.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's rough. That's rough. That's rough for y'all
I know
HBCU
I
goals.
know it's not happening this year, but we're gonna do the best that we can.
Yeah.
It's basically a community. You know what I mean? It's basically a
Hmm.
family reunion that we get to go ahead and embark on. And
Right.
definitely there's a lot of people that I met and that I still interact with and that are doing big things. And I guess it is a bit networking
That's what
family.
it is. That's what it
Yeah.
is. That's what
I
it
think
is.
that if I would have known, I think if you play it a little bit smarter, and if you get the idea, like you said, when we get that piece of paper, that really wasn't the end all be all. There was
That's not
like
the end
so
all
much
be all.
work that we were supposed to be, well, I was supposed to, I don't know about you, you probably did what you were supposed to do, but I was supposed to be doing
I was in
when I
between the
was at
lines.
school. No, I
Yeah.
wasn't in between no line. I was literally just sitting here going, I don't want to be here anymore. I think after my first semester, I got depressed.
Yeah. But
I got depressed.
even that though, just think about that. Like you could be trying to figure it out for sure. Like you could do what this is what I try to teach the kids, man. Look, everybody at some point in your life, I'm sure you went through some things that I guess you're gonna say you're proud of because you made it through, but you went through some things that you didn't foresee yourself going through emotionally, where you were in a space of just uncertainty, or for lack of a better phrase, darkness, or a little bit, you know what I mean, depressed or down, not your usually lively self. Everybody hits this point in their life, right? Where they're trying to figure it out, so to speak. Now, if you can go through that and navigate your way through and teach others that no matter what you do, even if you do everything right, everything that people tell you to do, that is not going to be enough sometimes. You know what I mean? So you could go get the best grades, you could go and do all of these things, and you could think you have it figured out, but life
It's
is
not a
not
straight path.
yeah, not at all. And
Definitely up and
it
down.
up and down and all that. So I feel like with school, you know what I mean, you figure that out. And if you're fortunate enough, you figure it out and then you could pay it forward. But it's not about that. You went to school for the experience. And that's what should have been told to us is the experience. It's not okay, I went to school, I got a degree. All right, let me just sit here now and they're gonna be coming after me. Even as a quote unquote black man with education, you know what I mean? I'm thinking, I was told like, yo, once you get a master's degree, they're gonna be all over you. Hell no. I still had to go and hustle. I'm still hustling. And now I figure like,
Right.
yo, that's not enough. So I'm not hustling on their time anymore. I'm saying, you know what? I'm not going after this job or that job or this job or that job. Literally, like all of these socialites, quote unquote, tell us you gotta go and get it yourself. And
You got
now
to
that's
create your
why
job that you want. You got to create your dream
absolutely.
job. You definitely
Absolutely.
do. It's
Yeah.
a, it's hard to try to go in these companies and put on this face and pretend like you give a damn about their company or you
No
give a damn
representation.
about whatever their company goals are and what's the company
And you
phrase.
really
And
don't care.
I don't
And
care.
you
I just want to
you
get
really don't.
high if I get my check.
That's
When
the,
do we
that,
get
and they
paid?
know, and they know that, and they know that, and even when you're trying to do that,
Hmm.
you do your checks and balances, and you like, damn, even after you get your quote dream job, that is not the job that you created or the job that really identifies with who you are, totally you
Hmm.
realize like, man, even it's not enough. This is a lot of work. This is stressful. It's not,
For a
they
little bit of
trying to keep me
money.
away from important time from my family, and if you die tomorrow, they're gonna replace you. You know what I mean? So it's about, I'm
Yep.
just, that's what I'm trying to do with the mentoring program, honestly. Outside of academic enrichment and, you know what I mean, wellness strategies and things of that nature, I'm trying to help uh breed little entrepreneur like thinkers. You know what I mean? I'm not
Hmm.
downsizing the ability or or how necessary school can be. But I'm
Right.
also not out here trying to tell you that if you don't go to school, that you're not going to be successful. Because you, just like Biggie said in the movie, you could go and you could make $42,000 working as a trash worker at 18, and then you could retire at 40 something because you knew, all right, I'm really not trying to go to school. And if you choose to go to school at 40, so be it. You can go to school at 40
Right.
years old and get a degree, and you're in the same playing field as somebody else, and you went to school at 40 after you retired. Now, you don't even
Hmm.
have any debt because your retirement fund paid for the thing. Everybody thinks that the system is set up like this, and it's not. We need to stop trying to abide by the system, and we need to create a system for ourselves. And that's what I'm on. And it took me 30 some odd years to get there because of my son, because I refused to
Right.
have him in a position that we were all in. But, apples to
This is
oranges.
true.
You
So
learn.
I want to
Yeah.
get back to the book that I am reading that is taking over. Like you don't like I've been trying to read the book and do like multiple different things that I'm doing at this one point,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
it's really like it's a calm, pleasant book. Like once you open it, it's like inviting. Like
It
come,
is.
let me tell you something. Let me tell
Right,
you
right.
what you learned, and let me tell you how this is actually giving you the anxiety that you probably been feeling your whole life about you're not doing as well as you think that you're doing, or why you
Yeah.
feel the way you feel, or why you want this approval from other people, why
Such
you're
a good book.
seeking, why you're doing this. So, what are some self help books that you've read that has been inspirational to you?
Got a whole library of those things. So,
Top
top
five, because
top
you're
five.
giving out them. Because I let you choose the two for me. I didn't know. I was like, just choose anyone. I was like, I don't know. He probably gonna
Which
give me
which
whatever.
which other one did I give you? Because I hope
I
it's
don't remember the second one because I'm still on the first one.
happiness principles. You could be happy no matter what. I swear by that one
I
too.
think I don't think you gave me that one because I know you
I
was like I was using to give me Rich Dad Poor Dad, and I read that. I
Oh,
read
you
that in
said you read
school.
that, so
I
I
read that
definitely
in
gave
high
you,
school.
happiness principles. You can be happy no matter what. But
Yes.
the four agreements is definitely up there. I can't even say it's number one because I've read so many ones that were pivotal. Shameless
Right.
plug. Outside of fundraising for GoFundMe, in the GoFundMe, I also do the books for 50% off. That also goes towards straight to the program. So you don't have to donate to the GoFundMe. You could just hit me up about a book that you want that I might mention right now, You know what I mean? Just so you
Yeah, go
guys in the
ahead.
comment.
List the five. List the five. List the
But
five.
the Four Agreements, The Way of a Superior Man, solid book. The Way of a Superior, or what is it? The Four Agreements, The Way of a Superior Man, Superior Warrior, or The Way of a Peaceful Warrior, rather. The Way of a
Okay.
Peaceful Warrior. Another one that Conversations with God. That whole installment is good. So that's
Mm.
four. And then five, I'd have to say, would be another book by Don Miguel Ruiz, and I want to say is The Mastery of Love, or um, one of those books. Anything by Don Miguel Ruiz, who's the author of the Four Agreements,
Okay.
his entire catalog,
Really?
I could put in one thing. Yeah, so
Have you read
all
the
those books.
Outliers book? Have
I
you read
haven't read
Outliers?
I have it, but I
You
haven't read it yet.
have to read Outliers. Do you know why you have to
Why?
read Outliers? Because first of all, I didn't know this guy was black.
Oh,
He looks
word.
like yes,
I
he's
didn't know
black.
that.
I think his mother is from Jamaica. I'm not really sure, but it's
Yeah.
called Outliers. So I remember Charlemagne had recommended the book
hmm
on the Breakfast Club because I
Five love
believe
languages. Yeah, Sharon. Yeah. Oh, my bad. Go ahead.
so he named this book, and he was like, it was because I think Salt and Pepper was there. Salt and Pepper
Okay.
was on the show, and they were saying that they used to work at Sears with
hmm
Martin Lawrence and Kid and Play. And he said, that's some Outliers stuff. And they was like, really? He was like, yeah, like how all these people knew each other, but all these group of people actually became very successful.
Right.
Like they all branched out. And so in the book, and I don't want to give it away because it's a bunch of his theories that he used to support the theories. And he talks about the 10,000 hours.
Yep. I heard
That
this.
how
See,
something
that's where I got the quote from, knowing
yes,
that.
it's the
Yeah, yeah,
10,000 hours about
yeah,
you put
yeah.
10,000 hours in order to be, I guess, professional in something. Like he
And
talked
something.
about
Yep.
a classical pianist. Like
Yep.
these children are playing at 6, so by the time they're 16, they're
Yep.
already looked at a certain way. He also talked
hmm
about being assertive. He
hmm
gave like a lot of scenarios between race, which is why black people may not be as, like, for example, like the Karens of
Okay.
the world, right?
Yeah, yeah.
They have white privilege. They
hmm
feel like it's their right to do something. But it's all in how they were trained to believe that I am more superior than you are. So if you train your children in that
See,
way and let them believe that I am just as superior than you
see,
are, then you think that way, you move that way, you get a lot more
some
respect that way.
and some of these things are some. This is why I said, as far as my father being like a mentor to me. Now he had me hip to like reading, because I know people going to think that this is not choice, but I got into reading by reading stuff like True to the Game at first, and
That's my favorite book, even though
I
they
loved
ruined
it.
my movie.
I
They
love I
ruined
love.
my movie, but we're not
It
gonna talk
wasn't it
about that.
wasn't bad.
They ruined
We'll
my
talk about
movie.
that. We'll talk
We'll talk
about
about
that
that
on
another
personal.
time. But that I love that book, but they
But
ruined the movie.
But I read that, right? So it got me into the habit of saying, like, yo, we already watching stuff like Boys in the Hood and Menace to Society. Some people would think, like, man, why you letting your kid read that? But obviously, I know not to. I have enough family members and I have enough people doing alternative lifestyle stuff that I know better. But if
Right.
I'm watching this on TV, whether it be BET, going to the movies, why not do something that's going to spark my intellect from a standpoint of this is what is entertaining to me? So it
Right.
started there. I'm like in eighth grade. So once I started reading that, it was like, all right, I had a cousin who introduced me to one of the the happiness principles thing. And I read that, and that was around the time I was like in college. Right then it shifted. I knew self-help books were my favorite type of books. So
Mine's too.
when I got into reading that, it was like, yo, all of these things that I'm hearing from conversations that him and I have, these are books that he hasn't necessarily read. Now he likes to read and stuff like that too, but I've heard this before, the same theory and approach that Malcolm Gladwell had. Like, you know how some of these the others, you know what I mean? There's us,
Yes.
the malinted people, and then there are the others. We have nothing against them because I went to a PWI, predominantly white institution, you know what I mean? So I have to learn how to play both sides of the coin. You know what I mean? St. Benedict's Prep was really good at that too. It was really diverse, but it was in Newark. So any white guys that I was affiliating myself with, they understood what it was like to be in the heart of the city. Whereas I'm in
Right.
Boston College with all of this prestige, and it's like, okay, you got to learn how to. I can do this and have on a nice shirt and tie, and then I could go right back down to my stomping grounds and feel comfortable. So I felt the need to be able to play both worlds. Like you was talking about with Tiff and Sakia. Both of them know how to do it as well. You yourself, I know,
Right.
even though HBCU, you know what I mean, you could clean up nice and then you could turn it up, you know what I mean,
I
when it's
try to
time
show
to.
up as me everywhere that I go.
Right.
I keep
But
a homegirl right next to me all the time, and
that's
I don't turn it off for
that's
nothing.
that's
And no, you
important.
cannot touch my hair.
That's important.
That's
That's
just where we
important.
at with it.
That's so important though.
I
And
don't
and,
want
and
to turn it off. I don't want
those
to fit into your
theories
world. They want to know what we doing because we're dope. Like, you know what I'm saying?
and
White
those
people want to be
theories.
like me. I don't want to be like them.
That's how
And
it
I've worked in
goes.
all kinds of retail environments with all kinds of,
Shout out to your
the other
husband. Shout out to
people.
your husband. Oh, sorry. I was looking at the comments. I was trying to engage, like, she said her husband went to St.
That's my
David's.
cousin. My cousin went there. Somebody asked the question. Hold on, I'm gonna go ahead and tap the question.
Okay.
Do you plan on getting licensed as a counselor? If not, why? Okay, yeah. So someone I don't want to put the question up there because I thought it
That's
was
fine. That's fine.
anonymous if you
Yeah.
ask the questions,
That's
but
fine.
they
That's fine.
show
You could,
people's name.
okay,
So they
you could
said, do
just,
you plan on getting certified as a counselor? If not, why? Why aren't you going to be certified as a counselor?
I'm not getting certified as a counselor because we just had all of this conversation about
No,
debt
she
and
said she
whatnot.
wasn't sure that she
Okay.
missed it or not,
Oh,
but
no, no, no,
that
no.
question was lingering the whole time, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
Yeah,
couldn't
yeah, yeah.
see it.
Absolutely not. And no disrespect to people. I have one of my homeboys who are in the comment section. My man has like 3 different degrees, and it's cool that we all know that we put ourselves in position to say, okay, I want to just switch it up. But now where we all are now, knowing what we know, unless you're gonna not you personally, whoever asked the
Right.
question, but unless that institution wants to pay me to have my name be a part of their institution and they want me to be recognized as a person who got a degree from them and they want me to come there, school's going to have to recruit me. That's my mindset from now on. So I'm not paying for
Mm,
school. I'm not paying for school anymore. Currently, I'm in a position to try to solidify potential education leadership. But honestly, if I'm keeping it 100 with you guys, that's a means to an end. Because once the mentoring program takes off, like I know that it will, education leadership cert for what? I'm already a leader. I don't need to be a leader in somebody's school. I might build my own school in 5, 10 years. You know what I mean? All of these things have been put in place, and you don't have to read books. You just have to follow the trends and understand the game that they put us in and the matrix. And now that I'm, deconstructing the process, is like absolutely not, because I
mm-hmm.
don't want to go and I don't necessarily want to practice or be a licensed therapist and have a room to myself where I'm saying, okay, listen to me and take these steps. I want to do it the organic way, the way we all have been doing. Hey,
Right.
this guy gives really good advice, preferably to kids who need some form of a direction. I
Okay.
basically swear by working with him, because when he started talking to my kid or working with my kid with academics or just development of, as far as maturation and leadership is concerned, I saw the trends of him slowly becoming the man that I always knew that he was. Do I have to go to school and read one of the theories of who all the theories that are out there that I've learned and don't plan on getting to telling the kids about until I feel like it applies, because none of that really matters to them. What they want is a relatable person and face that they could take what they hear and say, you know what, I trust you because you're telling me something that I know you believe in, and you look like me, therefore I want to give you my time because I know that you care. People don't follow letters. People follow people by how they make them feel. And that's what's remembered. They're not going to remember my letters. They're not going to remember what school I went to. They're not going to remember any of that. They're going to remember the impact that they had from the relationship that we built. And that's what it's all about. You can't take none of that stuff with you. When I die, you're going to feel my energy. You're not going to feel the paperwork from
Right.
the degree that I had. You're not even going to feel my debt. None of that matters.
I know mine is going to the grave with me, but that's another conversation too, child. Mine is
That's
going right
fact.
in the grave. So I actually want to talk to you off when we get off the live. I'm actually going to
Sure.
hit you up because I do know someone who may need a mentor, and I think you might be
For
the
sure.
perfect person for them. So I'm
For
definitely
sure.
going
For
to hit
sure.
you up and
For
send you
sure.
their information because
Okay.
they have a son, like that's a
Yeah.
teenager, and
Okay.
definitely you could reach out and maybe you could be I don't know where are you based
I'm
at right
based.
now.
I'm based out of PA, but I do
Okay.
have a mentor right now who's in North Carolina. I
Okay.
secured that from Facebook, and I have another
Okay.
mentor who's, so we can do the virtual thing
Okay.
works for that
Well,
reason.
they're in New York City, so
Okay.
we're gonna make it work. We're gonna make it work. So I'm definitely gonna give you their information, and
Okay.
you could just reach out and just basically see where it goes, because our young men right now are probably going through a lot. And like I told my daughter the other day, because my
Hmm.
daughter's 11 years old, and I said to
Yeah.
her, you have your whole life to fuck it up.
You
Excuse my
do.
French, but you have your whole life to fuck up.
You need
We're
it
not going to start the fuck up at 11. We're going to get it together now, because you got
right now.
so much time to fuck up.
Right.
Right now, these are your precious years. You need to kind of
Yeah.
focus on your schoolwork and do what you
Hmm.
need to do for you,
That's
me,
facts.
be an active member in this household. But please, I don't know what I'm going to do if you start fucking up at 11. That's going to
Yeah.
be really hard on me. I'm going to have to
Get
send
it
you
under
away, little
control
girl.
quick.
Come on
Yeah.
now. So, all right. So before you leave, because
Hmm.
like I said to you before,
It goes
these
fast.
45 minutes go by fast.
Oh my God,
So
so
I don't want them
fast.
to cut me off. So I want you to leave a gem
Okay.
before you go
Okay.
to
Okay. So
everybody.
we talked about the 4 agreements, so y'all can go pick that up. I don't want to chop this up because I got it
Sure,
from.
but it's a gem. You gotta leave it. However you leave it is however we're gonna receive it.
All right.
So if you
So
gotta reword it, reword it.
nah. I have it on like one of my email quotes. So basically, understanding how emotion works, right? Emotion is just energy in motion. That's what emotion is. It's your energy that you put into action or into motion by how you feel and by what you think about. So if emotion is energy in motion and matter is a little bit scientific, and matter is a matter of like what you actually can touch and feel. If you can if you can figure out a way to control what you think about, you could put yourself in a position to make what you think about become real and tangible. So just be able to control your emotions.
$1 million,
And
$1
yeah,
million, $1 million, $1
that's,
million dollars.
I hope that works. I try to think
No,
about it. You know what I mean? I try
I
to
think
think
I
that
just
way.
want wealth.
Yeah,
I don't want the $1 million. Maybe
yeah.
I don't think I don't believe that it's tangible. So that's probably why it's not really
See,
happening. But
see,
it's coming though.
another gem based on that. What I tell my mentees and what I know myself that I used to think about is not the money that you want. It's the ability to be able to go get the money with the creativity or what God has blessed you with. Because after that, you will be wealthy. Right now, like this is wealth. Like this is something
Right.
that your platform is going to take you into that wealth, and you have that wealth right now. It's just making sure that whether you have peaks and valleys and it doesn't go well one time, but it goes well another time, keep the same enthusiasm and know that passionately you are iconic, and you believe that, you continue to believe that no matter what. And before long, what you feel and what you do is what's going to bring you that $1 million. And then after a while, you're going to be like, man, $1 million is not enough. I
They're
feel
gonna
like a
cut us
million bucks,
off. They're
therefore
about to cut
that's what
us
it is.
off.
That's what it
Khalif,
is.
you came, you dropped some gems. I have some children to send to you.
Please.
I will be in contact with you. Please
Okay.
keep in touch with me.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
A friend of a friend is also my friend. I
That's
do
facts.
appreciate you.
That's facts.
Thank you for coming on and sharing. Everybody, again, please donate whatever you can, any type of donation. If
Yeah,
you
Tiff,
do
donate
the
that 25
25,
million.
if you get the 25, please, he's going to give you some bomb ebooks, okay?
Or
So
you can ask for what you would like, and I
what you
can do that
want,
too. Yeah, yeah,
what you
yeah.
want if you don't know. So
If
I
I
want to thank you again. They're definitely about to cut me off. This is my first time they ever tried to cut me off on this live, because I've never gone this long. Thank you so
Wow.
much. I definitely appreciate you. I know you're going to have this business up and running, this organization. Definitely going to be something for your son to keep in your legacy. I already know it. I'm putting it in the universe for you. So
Thank
I'm
you,
going to
thank
continue
you.
to support you as you continue to support me, okay? Thank you
Appreciate
so
it. I
much
will
for coming
definitely be
on.
doing that. No problem. Have a
Thank
good one.
you.
All right.